You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey, welcome back to the Soul Forge podcast. This is episode number
95.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey gang, it's Sean,
And Stephanie
and we're here for another randomly numbered episode.
of the Soul Forge podcast.
That is correct.
Yes.
Okay, so you're still here from your
Yes.
weekend visit.
So long ago.
So long ago.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the past, and this is a randomly numbered episode. We're getting a nice stockpile, so even though we recorded them back to back to back, and they have come out separate months apart, it's like you never left,
Yeah. What a wonderful way to keep me in your life forever.
right? Well, it's already been 23 years.
Yes. Very true.
Yeah, so there we go.
Very true.
So, for today's episode, what we thought we would talk about is signs from the universe.
Yes.
You know, those messages, portents.
Synchronicities.
yes.
Is what it's called in the New Age.
Parlance of our times.
Yes.
Or however we want
Circles.
to be fancy about it.
Yes. With all the Wiccans. I don't know if Wiccans do that, but the weirdos. Wiccans aren't weirdos. What? Anyway, go on.
How much have you been drinking?
Not very much.
Oh,
I really love being on show.
You're getting into the podcast.
I really love podcasting.
You should start your own.
If
If you haven't already by the time this comes out.
By the time this comes, I might start one tomorrow.
You totally should.
I'm going to take your microphone then. I need it for my podcast.
Oh, well, I guess I'll just have to sacrifice my material
yes,
wealth.
because you
for
are
your-
the best guy I know.
Right, because
you would do that for me.
Because Josh, my co-host on the Rusted Robot podcast, is starting his own podcast, and he's taking my other microphone. So why don't you take this one?
Yes, of course I will.
Why not?
Your other friends can't have more things than me from you.
Right. Yes.
I do have all the memories, though. Yeah.
Well, you have known me longer than Josh has known me.
Yes.
This is true.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't have the same memories.
He does not.
Okay, that's
have the
good.
same
That's
memories.
good.
That
That's
would
good.
be bad.
That would be creepy.
Yes.
I didn't realize he was there. Time travel episode.
That sounds like a good topic for one of these days.
Everyone's like, what? What is this? I don't know if it's normally this odd.
No,
Jokey.
you having way too much fun.
Oh,
But there's nothing wrong with that.
good.
You are allowed to have fun.
Good.
What kind of beer are we drinking?
This is, of course, the Belgian
Chimay?
Chimay Très Pear Trappistes.
Okay.
The French Trappists from Belgium. Oh, ale brewed in Belgium at Scourmont Abbey.
Ah, very
Yes.
nice. So
It's very delicious. I love Belgian beer.
it's not bad. I don't like beer, and I've been having a glass with you, and it's not bad at all. I can actually drink it.
It's absolutely delicious. If you want a nice beer, you drink Belgian. Belgian,
Chimay. It's palatable.
yes.
Of course, the Soul Forge has not been sponsored by the Belgian beer makers of
They
the Abbey,
have no
but
idea.
anyway, let's get into the topic before we ramble on too much further. You wanted to talk about signs from the universe.
Signs from the universe. They've been playing a major role in the last couple of years of my life, but most especially in the past, I would say, month.
Now, are you saying the signs from the universe are telling you what to do or guiding you in a certain direction or just confirming things that you already believed?
You know, I've given this a whole hell of a lot of thought, and I think it can be a little bit of both. There are 5 different levels of signs from the universe. I'm not 100% prepared right now with those. But right now, what has been happening to me, synchronicity is one of them.
Okay.
So
That means
the coincidence. Weird, odd coincidences like, oh my god, I was just thinking of you right when a phone call comes.
That's-
synchronicity.
that happens a lot.
And even today, synchronicity in that I got a tiny bit, I wouldn't say bored, during the podcast earlier. It was just a part of on the Rusted Robot, which is an excellent podcast, and I really, really enjoyed my time there. Just some pop culture references I just kind of fade out of, and because it is 2019, the first thing I did, of course, was then look at my phone and scroll through Facebook,
of course.
which we are also not sponsored by. But,
No, we're
okay,
not.
I'm just going to say that. And as I was scrolling, I came across a title about a title of a story from the North Bay Nugget, also not sponsored by, but they have, I'm not even gonna, nope, no libel charges for us. I won't put them down.
Okay, sounds
Because
good.
there's nothing to put them down for.
They're a newspaper in North Bay,
It's a newspaper in North Bay,
the North Bay Nugget.
the North Bay Nugget,
And there was
yes.
an article on Facebook.
There was an article on Facebook about how complainy postal workers can get about
Walking in the snow.
walking in the snow. Probably just walking in general. It's like, why should we have to do this? Because it's your job. Anyway,
As a
so-
mailman, I can relate to that.
yes, dig dig. So I was just about to say something, and at that exact same moment, Josh made a little dig about how he doesn't trust postal workers to deliver anything on time, or ever.
Because he likes to dig at me.
Yes.
Because he
and
thinks he's funny.
yes, I did notice that.
You did, right?
He is quite amusing.
He is.
I
Yes.
can
And-
honestly say that.
And this was the first time you had met him
yes.
on episode 235.
235. I think we had a good rapport,
I think
actually.
You guys got along really well.
It was wonderful. That was engaging and great, actually. No sarcasm there. That was fun. But synchronicity. As I was just about to say something, he says something. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna put poor Sean down anymore. But look at how our universes were just kind of traveling together. All three of us, right there, the postal worker and two people making fun of it. But yes, so there's synchronicity, and I can't remember all of the other ones, but then the physical manifestation of signs in the universe. These are the things like, if this is the kind of thing that you believe in, so the numbers are something different, but like seeing an owl. An owl is heavy with symbolism, and the different kinds of owls have different kinds of meanings, but or seeing a cat. You were saying earlier.
Yes, actually. When I was at the in-between phase between one relationship and another, and I was trying to decide if I should go to the next relationship or not, every time I doubted whether I should or not, I saw a cat. And it was basically telling me, you're on the right track, be with this new relationship, let go of the past, go ahead. And then if that didn't tell me enough, every time I would get in the car and think, maybe this is not the right move for me, Rihanna's We Found Love song would play. It was almost all the time.
So just for my own clarification, I just looked up a cat as symbolism.
The cat, as a symbol, carries double meanings mostly. Oh, that would explain a lot. It balances two opposite things always. For instance, light and dark, rest and action, outer and inner, up and down, good or bad.
Her or her.
Her or her.
Her or her.
Two bridges, one path. Yeah. Overall, the cat is the symbol of patience, independence, curiosity, and courage.
Oh.
So
Now-
I always saw it as the universe telling me to pursue the new relationship. And it was going to
courage.
take courage to
Yeah.
do so.
Probably a little bit of patience.
A little bit of patience because the girl was not in the same city at the time and was working her way back. Independence, I was going to have to be on my own for a bit. And curiosity, yeah, I was curious as to what this new opportunity would bring. So every
Yeah.
time I saw this cat, or any cat, it would just be totally random, but it would cross my path, or I'd be delivering the mail and I'd see it in a window and it would be staring at me.
And the two, I really love how it says balances two opposite things, which would always, you saw a cat, you immediately thought of these two women.
Yeah.
And
Past or future.
past or future, two very, very opposite things.
Yeah.
And I guess now you'd see a cat and be like, oh, kitty, instead of, it doesn't bring up anything else.
Doesn't tell me anything. But the same with the Rihanna song. Every time I would doubt whether I should pursue the new relationship, We Found Love came on, and I'm like, I guess we did find love, or we are finding love. And so I felt like, okay, keep pursuing.
Yeah. So that's really awesome, and an excellent example of how physical signs from the universe will manifest themselves at specific times. Recently I work in the field of ministry, lightly, and without going too much into my own story, because for those who know me, it can get long, and I don't think you have time for a 5-hour, let's be honest, 24-hour podcast.
I've never done a 24 hours. That would be a lot of editing.
A ton of editing. Just live, just throw it out there.
Right.
So to narrow it all down, I've been really at this crossroads of, I thought the path that I was on was my true path and where I was supposed to go, and that I was finally home and comfortable. And I haven't been able to settle into that space comfortably, and it has been really, really kind of messing with my brain, because I had really thought that everything had been leading to this one specific time in my life. I've had to keep going through so many obstacles. I thought, yes, finally I have found what it is that I need to be doing. And so to be all of a sudden confronted with the realization that I'm still questioning it, and the one thing that I have always put on the back burner is getting louder and louder and louder, but it also at the same time feels like it is really the stupidest choice that I could possibly make for myself, especially at my age. But over the past couple of years, I wish I had the list here, but the different signs from the universe have kept coming up. First very, very subtle, and then a little bit stronger, and now, while I'm really wrestling with this, I'm getting the physical manifestations. And my job in the world of faith, to contemplate what comes next, really means that I'm going to have to struggle with what my faith in myself is. And what did I see? I saw a snowy owl, which it almost seemed like it appeared to me. I am also a human being, and I realized that all the other cars passing by actually saw that owl and saw that I was standing in a snowbank, like up to my knees, taking pictures of an owl on a branch, and probably weren't stopping because they've seen an owl a million times. Like, look at that crazy tourist in the winter taking pictures of an owl. But at the time, it just seemed so weird that it appeared to me so close to the road. But anyway, I looked that up, and lo and behold, the owl is a symbol of faith and death, and transformational death. If you're going to be all literal, it's not foretelling that I will die, that's just a given, but death to what I know.
Death of ideas or ways of thinking.
Yes, and in particular, the snowy owl represents faith and the path of your faith life. So the death of having faith in letting go of something deep and dear and moving forward, calling you forward. Okay, so dang it, looks like I'm going to have to do some work. But then, of course, I put that in the back of my head and drive away with some nice pictures of owls, or an owl, and thinking, okay, yeah, I'll deal with that. I'll deal with that when it comes up. The very next day, for goodness sakes, so I live in Muskoka, the Muskoka area. Oh gosh, I've moved so many times. I work in Bracebridge, live in Port Sydney, Ontario.
That's in Canada.
Canada, yes. Beautiful. You should definitely travel there and spend your money and all that kind of stuff. Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful. Gorgeous.
And speaking of time, you know what else you should do?
What?
Listen to podcasts here on the ESO network.
Actually, yes.
Let's play a promo for one.
Okay.
Welcome to the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast. I am your host, The Monster.
We
are Venom.
I got my own parasite!
Parasite?
Sorry, Venom. I meant symbiote.
That's better. What do you do for fun around here?
I want to do a podcast with you.
What the hell's a podcast anyway?
Well, it's a weekly show where I talk about the latest news in sci-fi, movies, and TV.
You're such a nerd. Now I'm a loser on 2 planets.
The Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast is part of the ESO network. It's sci-fi from a certain point of view.
Okay, and now back to our story.
Okay, yes. So gather myself a little bit, and so as I'm, there was one day I was driving, and I was going on this north-south road, and really kind of thinking about, God, do I have the balls to really go for what that owl is kind of telling me to do? And lo and freaking behold, as I'm driving, I am facing south, driving south, and this bald eagle comes kind of just floating, soaring in just ahead of my vehicle, just glides in from my left, and kind of hovers and stays just ahead of my vehicle, traveling in a perfectly straight line, close enough so that I could see the talons, the color, the ruffling of the feathers in the wind. It was absolutely gorgeous. And then kind of after, I would say maybe 15 to 20 seconds of just kind of coasting along in front of me, just kind of like tilted its wings just a little bit and just kind of faded off to the right. And just so it like literally crossed my path, but also stayed on the path with me as I traveled. I nearly drove right through there's a traffic circle. And I nearly went right over the middle of the traffic center. And
Follow me, Steph, said the bird.
Follow me into death. But basically, as soon as I pulled over, I started getting very anxious and hyperventilating. I was like, oh no, what is going on here? Why am I getting 2 huge symbols in 2 days?
2 birds in a row.
Yes.
2 days.
Yes. Oh, God. On this one stone, Lar Stone.
Yeah, that's your last name.
Yeah. So I pull over, I look it up, just to be careful, or just to be clear 100%, yes, an eagle is saying you have the strength to follow your path. It is time to go. You can do this. So basically, everything is ready, the universe is aligned. And so that freaked me out. And then just to be super, super clear, the next day, when I was driving in the opposite direction home from work, and I had, okay, I will make this choice. And of course, then I sleep, I wake up and start, hey, but that's going to take a lot of work, and I'm going to have to explain so many things to so many people, and well, maybe I can just kind of put it off for a little while, and goddamn, another eagle on the same road did the exact same thing. And it was like, okay, universe, fine.
It has to hit you over the head several times.
Ah, yes, how many times? I think the next time I might have to run over an eagle. And I think that would put me in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like a mental snap there. Oh my God, I killed my universal symbol.
Your spirit animal.
Oh my God, my
Oh, no.
But which one is it? Is it just birds in general?
Maybe.
Probably.
Yes.
I always thought it would be a cat.
Okay, so do we believe that there's a force in the universe that's actually directing us, or is it all coincidences, and is it our own thoughts that are imposing this on there? What is it?
I don't know. And here, after so much thought, I don't know.
You still
I don't know.
Because is there some kind of like metaphysical thing in the universe, like an underlying fabric, like not God, but maybe a universal force, something that is directing our lives or guiding us on a path? I think we have free will, but sometimes, like a miracle, out of the blue, a symbol or a sign or something comes to tell us that, hey, this is what you need to do.
Now this is fascinating, and if you seriously want to get into this, then I would love to debate this with people, because when I've tried to bring it up not even debate, just discuss this with people, because when I try to bring it up with people who have never thought of this before, it's really difficult, because they're like, I don't know, tell me more. And it's like, but no, but I want to engage in some kind of like, let's really explore this. It's fascinating, because when I saw the owl, my first thought was, oh my God, it's a sign. And then I thought, oh, fuck it, excuse my language. I'm in Northern Ontario. It's the middle of the winter in Canada. I saw a snowy owl. Oh, wow, an owl in the bush in Northern Ontario in the winter? Huh. So really, what is it? Is
So
it
you
the
discount it as
interpretation? Yes,
What
and
could
then
it's
boom.
nothing. It's
Yeah.
nothing nor it's everything, and there's no way to know.
And there is no way to know. And then I took that to mean when I then saw the, and I went home and I discussed it with my roommate at the time, like, it could be everything, it could be nothing. What really matters is that you believe in the symbol. But then I saw the eagle and I thought, well, maybe I didn't actually believe in the symbol. And now maybe this is just challenging me to go deeper. And now, is this actually the path that I'm being called to? Not just keep on taking the path, but start exploring this. This is what you've always wanted to do. And whether, for lack of a better word, there is a God, there is an ultimate connector that is connecting everything, whether or not that is true, because of my faith, I believe that there is something bigger than anything can label.
We can't describe it.
We cannot describe it, but there is something bigger than us out there, whatever that means. I think it's beautiful that you pose that question. Is it given meaning because we are giving it meaning, or
And it's just a totally random act.
is it, an eagle in Northern Ontario, Canada? It's not impossible for eagles to be out here.
Right.
Yeah, when I worked at the dump, I saw eagles eating garbage all the time. Sad but true. I just have never seen one actually flying before.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're very, very beautiful.
So here's what makes me think that there are signs from the universe. And
Yes,
and,
good.
And I've wanted to talk about this for a few months, but I've been saving it so that I've been far enough past it, so that
Oh, this is wonderful, and look, I'm here.
yes,
Everything is connected.
it's all connected.
Synchronicity.
I didn't want to talk about it immediately after it happened because it was a bit upsetting. Okay.
This is weird. Am I going to cry?
No.
Okay.
So, back in December of 2018, I was supposed to go on my first international flight. I was going to go on a trip to Cuba, and this happened because I'd never been anywhere. I've always wanted to go on vacation. I always say, one day I'll go on vacation. And I was talking with Tracy, one of the regular co-hosts of Soulforge, and she said, why don't you just go on vacation then, Sean? I'm like, I don't know, maybe I should. And I had a week off in December. And I was like, who am I going to go with? I don't want to go on a vacation by myself. And I asked a bunch of people. Nobody was available. I asked Melissa, who I was hanging out with and maybe developing a relationship with, but I wasn't really sure. The vibes were off. She's not my kind of person. Very different from anybody I'm familiar with. That didn't matter. Didn't care. So anyway, she was able to get the time off. We had our passports, packed up all our stuff. It's December 9th in the morning, and we're ready to go on the flight to Cuba. So we get on the airplane, we're sitting on the airplane, and the door won't close, and the pilots can't close it, and the mechanics can't close it. So they don't delay the flight, they cancel the flight. So this is a Sunday morning, and the soonest we can get rebooked to Cuba is the following Thursday. By that point, our week of vacation is over, there's no point. So they said, well, why don't you go ahead and call Air Canada Vacations, the call center, see what they can arrange for you. So we do. And because the Cuba flight was canceled and there was no way to get there anytime soon, for the same price that we had already paid, we could go to Cozumel, Mexico that evening. So we get to the airport that evening, and the lady on the call center line had booked the flight, but she hadn't issued our tickets. And by the time we got to the airport, the call center was closed, and the lady behind the counter couldn't do anything for us. So the second flight was canceled. So 2 trips in one day canceled. The universe banging me over the head saying, no, you shouldn't go, you shouldn't go. I'm like, well, why shouldn't I go? I'm thinking to myself. So the following Monday, I go to my travel agent, and she's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, well, this happened, so I need my money back. She's like, oh, okay, well, let me see what I can do. And then me and Melissa were there talking to Natalie, the travel agency lady, and she basically said, it must have happened for a reason. You may never know what that reason is, but there's got to be a reason. So I'm like, Yeah, okay, so that's the Monday. The next day, Tuesday, a friend of mine sent me an article on Facebook saying there was super amount of mosquitoes and there's some kind of disease that was all over the place. And I'm like, okay, maybe the universe canceled my flight twice, my trip twice, but two different places, so I don't know. So I didn't get a disease. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So the week goes on, I'm at home, not in Cuba or somewhere sunny. I'm like, well, this friggin' sucks. Friday, Melissa sends me a message and says, oh, there's no spark here. I think we're just friends. I'm like, aha! That's what the universe was telling me, because I was going to pay for the entire thing. Whoever was going to go with me on the trip, I was paying for the whole thing anyway. But her and I were supposed to be in a relationship or working towards it. So she was just going to go on the trip, have fun. I spent all the money, and then she says, oh, there's no spark.
Yeah.
But the universe saved me the more than $2,000
Yeah.
and said, this is not the girl for you. I'm like, huh, okay. If that's not the universe giving me a sign to get away from this chick, then I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So that's why I believe that sometimes the universe intervenes to save you from yourself.
Yes.
And it had to hit me over the head twice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, do I have to do this again? I better do this again.
2 flights canceled in one day. Nobody had ever heard of that. Not my travel agency, not the lady behind the counter, nobody.
Well, isn't this rare? What do you know?
Yeah. So, signs from the universe, do I believe in them? I certainly do. I don't know if there's a God. I don't know if there's a universal constant. I don't know if it's all random. I don't know what it is. But I think that, yeah, there's a pretty good chance the universe saves you sometimes.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Or just prepares you so that you just don't die. Oh, I guess that's still just saving you.
Yeah, it's
So scary.
it is scary, and you don't know, but that's what it is, right? So just to end off the podcast, we did decide to look up the messages from the universe, and whether they're true or not, or this is all bullcrap, who can say? But we'll just list them out here. First one is when you see special numbers in a sequence. Like I always look at the clock at 10:17, and I have for like decades.
Ooh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, so does October 17th mean something? I don't know. But
Fascinating.
The meaning says it's a beautiful sign of alignment and message to let you know that you're in the flow. The second message from the universe, when you experience a delay,
Cuba.
right, a delay in my...
It's like, but everything is set to go. Why is
I
this randomly coming up?
Totally packed up and on the plane. The meaning says everything, and I mean everything, unfolds in perfect divine timing. So it'll happen when it's meant to.
Yep.
Number 3, when you experience a coincidence. The universe communicates to us via a language called synchronicity, which is what you said. This happens when we feel this happens when we feel blown away by an occurrence that our reality collided with someone or something along the way. And the meaning says there are no coincidences, and when the synchronicities appear, it's an invitation to follow the white rabbit to the next set of instructions. You're on a wild mission from the universe.
It's awesome. I'm loving this time of my life right now. I'm supposed to be doing these frickin' podcasts.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Number 4.
With Josh and you.
Yes. When a book, course, or person appears in your awareness, and you're being guided always.
And that is physical manifestation. It can also be your guide animal, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And number 5, when your intuition seems to be heightened, you might have a song in your head and then turn on the radio and it's playing. You might have a knowing that a car space is about to be available in the frantic parking lot at Whole Foods. You might know if your phone is about to ring. All of this points to your consciousness being in a really cool space. You're in the flow, and the universe can speak to you loud and clearly because your heart is open. And what it means is give thanks for your intuition, because the more you strengthen that facility or faculty, the more it will work for you in your life.
Right now, that is happening with me a lot, and it's creepy but awesome, empowering, but maybe not empowering. It's kind of a rush to just I'm just gonna go with my intuition. It worked again. It's better than heroin. Not that I would actually know, because I've never done heroin.
But you've heard.
I've heard, although it makes you sleepy. I don't understand. I think, complete aside, that if I were ever to get into any kind of drugs, it would be something like meth or speed or something, cocaine maybe. I'd rather be a cokehead than a meth head, I think.
Okay.
Just with the images that come to mind.
Right.
But I don't want to do something that's just going to slow me down. I want to accomplish more in a short period of time.
Good call.
Yeah.
And on that note, that was a weird way to end the podcast.
Yes.
But listeners, thanks for stopping by The Forge. We're still keeping the fires lit for you. Return again next week for another exciting episode of who knows what the topic will be. Follow us on social media. If you'd like to support the show, patreon.com/DarthVaderloo. That's also where you can find me on Instagram at DarthVaderloo. And remember, life is a school where you learn how to remember what your soul already knows. This has been another episode of the Soul Forge Podcast. Find us on Twitter at SoulForgePod or email the show via soulforgepodcast@gmail.com. Soul Forge is a production of Sean Vanderloo and Friends. You can find Sean on Twitter and Instagram at Darth Vaderloo. Remember to visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links and share the show with everyone you know. Thanks for stopping by The Forge. We'll keep the fires lit until your next visit.
I love that you talk about the language of the omens because the omens or signs are everywhere all the time, everywhere. And so the boy, Santiago, learns to follow the signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you learn? Because you cannot teach.
You can't
can
teach.
only learn.
Yeah.
You understand? I cannot write a book about how to learn, and you only learn this language by making mistakes. As I told you.
And paying attention. Come on.
And paying attention.
By paying attention.
Of course.
You can pay attention and get a lot.
The same thing with the universe. Huh? So the universe is there teaching you the correct signs, and sometimes you take the wrong step, but then it will correct.
So when did you learn the language of the world? And you early on you speak of the shepherd boy recognizing that his sheep didn't have to be awakened all the time, that there was a rhythm, there was an energy, there was a flow to things, and they started responding to that. And he realized that, the hawks in the air, the sheep, that everything around him had its own energy, its own flow, its own language. When did you start to learn that?
I think that when I start paying attention to life.
When you start paying attention to life.
When I understood that life or the universe was not turning around me. I was very young, because when you're a child, you think that only you exist.
Right.
Right? And one day I was by a orange tree, and I had the sensation that I was alive. Do you remember the day that you realized that you were alive?
No, I don't remember the day.
Well, I remember. So.
I wish I did, but okay.
But that is, my God, I am alive. Not only I am alive, but I am not the center of the universe. And then I realized that I was alive, and there was a lot of things going on outside my childish world. Mm-hmm. And so I said, I'm going to pay attention to what is going on. And this is how I survive it all.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.